Welcome to Plain Talk, a podcast dedicated to bringing useful marketing, advertising, and public relations tips and information to small and micro businesses, nonprofits, and beyond. Hosted by the team at In Plain Sight Marketing. We're excited you're here.
Hey, it's Olivia and Jordan here from In Plain Sight Marketing. And today on Plain Talk, we're going to be talking about emojis in email marketing. So Jordan, can you give me the rundown on using emojis in email for marketing?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm not super familiar with yet. I don't have a lot of experience in email marketing, but I got curious one day because I love emojis in my own personal social media phone use. So I was just kind of wondering about the topic. So I found some research, and it's basically using emojis in your email header or subject line for your company to encourage more opens and clicks on your emails when you send them out.
That's awesome. So in your research on emojis for marketing with emails, did you find any like pros and cons for using it?
Yeah, so it was all really interesting and kind of surprising to me. So one of the pros was the article said that 44% of users are more likely to purchase products using emojis in the headers, and the open rate is 56% higher compared to people not using emojis. So it sounds pretty effective when you use it. And some other pros are if it is the right thing to do for your audience, like if your target audience is something that this would resonate well with. It can capture their attention when scrolling through their emails. They can act as a modern day body language to your emails, adding expressions or playfulness to your email, so it's not just like plain text subject line. And doing this too, you can slowly incorporate emojis to become a part of your brand image so that people might resonate using those emojis like with your company.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. That's crazy. Are there like any cons for using it?
Yeah, so the cons that I read were sometimes it can be seen as too flashy if you use, I guess, more colorful emojis or emojis that are too many emojis in one subject line. Some
Gotcha.
people might see it as tacky or unprofessional, so that's why you should make sure that your target audience would actually like this, than them looking at it and being like, oh, like, I don't like that, like, emoji shouldn't be here.
Yeah, definitely.
And it actually can decrease the visibility of your emails. So if a ton of people are using them, and your target audience opens their inbox and all of their emails have emojis, they can actually easier skip over your email because they all have emojis, so it doesn't stand out anymore. So I thought that was really
Gotcha.
interesting.
So with it decreasing visibility, since so many other people are using emojis, would it be like effective to send an email without emojis and then another day send one with, just to kind of mix it up?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I want to say probably implementing that would be a good idea if you find that
Yeah.
it isn't working as well as you thought it would, or maybe
Yeah.
using the emojis in a different place, like first, last, maybe putting it in the subject line rather than like the main title of the email, or maybe
Gotcha.
using less emojis. I would say probably playing around with it to see what tends to work with your emails.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Going off that, are there any like best practices when it comes to using emojis in email marketing?
Yeah, so in my research, these are things that I didn't really think of, so I'm really glad that I came across them. One of them that I didn't really think of because I am an avid Apple user and you are an avid Samsung user.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I forgot that emojis are different across all platforms, right? So sometimes they'll look a
Yeah.
little different for everybody. So the article had a great example. So it said to check your emojis across all devices before you use it to make sure that it still has the same meaning across Google, Samsung, and Apple devices. Um,
Gotcha.
and their example, which I thought was really cool, was a few years ago, the Cookie Monster has an official Twitter,
Mhm.
and
Oh,
the
wow.
Cookie Monster tweeted on National Cookie Day, a
Uh-huh.
tweet and put a bunch of cookie emojis at the end, but Samsung users saw crackers, like white crackers, and
Oh,
so there was a
wow.
screenshot of it because everyone was like, "Why is the Cookie Monster talking about crackers on National Cookie Day?" So that was, like, a
Oh
really
my
good
gosh.
catch of they might not be the
Yeah.
same across all phones.
I wonder if there's like a software that you could like use to make sure it's like the same across all platforms.
Yeah.
Um, but that's crazy. That's funny about the Cookie
Yeah, that was a
Monster.
really cool one. I was like, "Oh, like, you do have to
Yeah.
check to make sure." And then another
And it's
example they had too, for just
uh-huh.
best practices, which I also didn't really think about, was, to, for, diversity and inclusion. So now all the emojis have all these different shades of, skin color, which is amazing. Applaud to Apple for doing that. But
Yeah,
if you
right?
are sending out a mass email to a huge population, you don't wanna single
Mhm.
out one group of people and one race with your emojis. So they actually suggest to use the yellow skin tone because it's not actually a skin tone, like, it's the yellow color, so
Oh,
that
wow.
you don't single out one population, and that's something that I didn't think about either.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. And it's funny because, like, I feel like emojis are like they're always adding new ones. And then also, like, there's definitely emoji trends.
Mhm.
Like, it used to be everyone would do the smiley face that was like laughing. And now I feel like the younger generation uses like the skull,
Yeah, yeah, I saw that too.
like something's
To come
funny.
across the same
So,
message, but it's different uses through the generations, yeah.
right, it's funny. You have to definitely like I feel like keep up with it to make sure you're using like the correct emojis for the time, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, and whenever there is a brand, I guess, that does do that correctly, I
Uh-huh.
always notice it, and I'm always like, "Oh, like, hats off to them," because they're keeping up with what
Right.
people are
Yeah.
associating things with and what the generation is talking about, so I always think that's really
Yeah.
cool.
They're keeping up with the times, huh?
Yeah.
Do you have any other best practices or like tips or do's and don'ts for using emojis when email marketing?
Yeah, so there was some really good what not to do's, which I found
Mhm.
interesting. And one of them was do not replace words with emojis in your subject line. Like you should always use the emojis to represent what you just wrote rather than trying to replace words with them because the meaning could come across different than you intend, or sometimes it's harder for someone to read the subject line and associate those
Uh-huh.
emojis with the word instead. So I've seen it done a bunch, which I don't know if it is a best practice anymore because I think it might have used to be and now it's not. But personally,
Gotcha.
I've always found that difficult. So I thought that was cool that that was a standout of what not to do because it is something that I've seen done.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Um, do you have any other tips for us?
Yeah, basically the others were, as I said earlier, don't overuse them because if you have
Mhm.
a subject line with at least 5, 6 emojis tacked onto the end, like,
Yeah,
that might not
it's
look the
gonna be
best. Yeah, a little
overwhelming. Yeah,
overwhelming, a
or
little like, "Okay,
unprofessional.
like, why did they do that?"
And I feel like it could sometimes, like, if you just like looked in your inbox and you're just scrolling through really quick, like your emails, I feel like if you saw like a million emojis, you would almost think it's like spam
Yeah,
or like
exactly.
something. So there's definitely moderation is important, I feel like, when it comes to that.
Yeah, definitely. Moderation and placement on where you put them, I think. I've seen a
Yeah.
few in my personal inbox. There was one that it was a 50% off sale, I think. So what they did was they started the email with 50% off, and before and after, they put the huge red circle emoji so that it, like, just
Mhm.
highlighted that 50% off. So that's what you looked at first when you opened the email. So I think
Gotcha.
strategic placement, you could really guide attention to exactly what you want them to see.
Yeah, and then also, like, taking into account, like, your target audience, right? Is there a best practice when it comes to keeping your target audience in mind?
Yeah, it basically what I found was just make sure that it is a it's an audience that would like it. I would definitely say younger generations, probably still millennials, or even older
Mhm.
generations might think that it's fun, um, because emojis are fun and new to them. But I would
Mhm.
definitely do what resonates with your audience, and with your brand. If you're a fun, playful brand, selling fun products, doing fun things, like you're just
Mhm.
advertise yourself as colorful, inviting. I would definitely think that emojis would be good to start implementing. But if you are a brand that is serious and not really like that, I don't know if that would be the best thing for your company to do. So it's definitely who you think would resonate well with it, and if you yourself resonate well with it to implement for you.
Definitely, no, that makes sense. Do you have any, like, examples, like, you've seen in emails, like, any brands that you've seen using emojis?
Yeah, so I just started scrolling through my inbox because I got interested to
Mhm.
see, oh, well, like, who does do this right now? Like, and these were emails
Yeah.
that I all got this morning or last night, and a few brands
Uh-huh.
was Walmart, which I was actually pretty impressed
Oh,
by.
wow.
They used an emoji to highlight a summer sale. Dick's Sporting Goods was another
Yeah.
one that I was kind of surprised with. They were sending an email for back to school supplies. So they used a little red backpack and a crayon emoji for back to
Oh,
school,
that's
like
fun.
together next
Yeah.
to their sentence. So I thought that was fun and a good way to use that. Um,
Yeah,
who
definitely.
else? I saw Old Navy used it to highlight a sale. They used the sparkle emoji at the beginning and the
Oh,
end to highlight the sale line,
fun.
so I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
Um,
that looks cool. That kinda, like, catches your eye.
yeah, it was like makes the words pop a little bit with a little sparkle in between each word. Like, we're
Definitely.
having a sale. So I was like, that's kind of how I read it. So I was like, oh, that was cool. And then Nike was another one that used an emoji. So this was just going through my email this morning. So people are
You
obviously
just
implementing them, and these are all big brand names.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's, like, catching your attention when you check your email.
Yeah,
Like,
now I'm
who's using
constantly
these
looking to
ones?
see who's
Yeah.
using them, how they're using them, how we could use them. So it's definitely opened my eyes a little bit to discover this whole different side to email marketing, because when I started this research, I didn't think that it was considered professional to use emojis, but I was like, oh, well, is it or is it not? Because emojis are a great resource for social media and just media in general.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jordan. That was super interesting. Um, I didn't really look into how effective it could be in email marketing. Do you have any final words on using emojis in emails for us?
Yeah, I would definitely say if this is something that you're even like remotely interested in, maybe just like even like a tiny bit interested in, to definitely do some research because there's some really, really good recent articles out there, like 2022
Mhm.
articles that still justify what articles from 2018, 2019 are saying, which is what I found while
That's
looking.
crazy.
So in the
So
beginning, I
it's been
thought
a
that it
topic
was
for a few years.
yeah, I thought it was old news, but as I researched, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is still super relevant." So, I would definitely say
Yeah.
if you're interested, do some research and see if it works for you, because I found it fascinating, and it'll be interesting to see if it'll work for us.
Right, definitely. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Jordan. That was very insightful. We're gonna have to look into using emojis in our emails now. But thank you for joining us on Plain Talk, and we will talk again soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Plain Talk. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share with your colleagues and peers. To get show notes and listen to more episodes, visit our website at ipsmllc.com/category/podcasts.
All right.